This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 956. This is the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, Relevant Senior Editor, Tyler Huckabee.
Howdy.
Derek is out this week. Sorry, Derek fans. And from Austin, Texas, author, speaker, podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question before we dive in? How many, and this is geared towards particularly Jamie and Tyler, that when Cameron introduced us, how tempted were both of you guys, instead of giving your normal greeting, to go, keep your name out of your mouth?
Oh, gosh. I had zero temptation to do that.
I
Oh, my
almost
gosh.
did. I was thinking about it all morning. Then I was like, no. Okay.
Too soon?
I'll at least make reference to the joke.
I was trying to think where
gosh.
you're going to go with this one, Jesse. And despite the fact that this is the only thing anyone's talking about, I did not see it coming. Because it feels like it was 100 years ago.
It was 100 years ago. It shifted, though. It shifted from funny memes for the first 24 hours to now the think pieces are rolling out. And I'm just like, come on.
Yeah.
No, but here's what this is a take that I feel pretty safe, kind of standing behind. My take is not about comedy and violence and personal jokes.
Yes.
My take is, I don't know when the next time we will have a completely shared cultural experience where within minutes of something happening, that almost everyone is either getting a text message or, because I wasn't watching the Oscars at the time. I was watching, you
and all of America weren't watching. It was the second lowest rated Oscars ever.
I was watching.
I was too. But it's our
I watched
job.
it live.
It's our job to watch it. Nobody else watched it. They all watched it on Twitter.
But either way, within minutes of the Will Smith thing happening, or at least within an hour, the whole world knew about it. And I was trying to think of like ever since like the advent of the internet, we've kind of seen what cultural prognosticators have called the death of the monoculture, where it used to be there was 3 channels and everyone was watching the same thing all the time. That if you walked in the water cooler and were like, hey, you believe I Love Lucy last night? Everybody watched it, right? There was a monoculture. We all had similar shared experiences. Now with technology, everything's deviated. So I could say, hey, did you watch Only Murders in the Building last night? No, I was watching a show about a vegan murderer. Or whatever, right? Like, it's different. I don't
think she murdered anybody. She just stole money from her workers.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm not in there yet.
We don't even know what you're really talking about.
I do.
That's how dead the
it's up next
monoculture
for me.
is.
It's up next for me.
Yeah, but either way,
it's good.
Either way, but what I was thinking, like, this is maybe one of the last ones.
Vegans don't murder. That's their whole point. Just FYI.
They murder plants.
They don't murder animals.
But it is very rare. It is very, it's exceedingly rare.
You don't hear about a vegan serial killer. Vegans don't murder.
I'm not talking about the vegan serial.
He's talking about shared cultural experiences. Where I feel like...
Although I agree on that point too.
Yeah.
They're very rare.
I mean, there could be. We don't know. I don't trust them. I'll tell you that.
Why would they not murder an animal, but they would murder humans? They don't murder. That's a whole vegan thing. We don't even want to milk from a being. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, either I only watched the first episode, and I was assuming it was leading to murder because I've been conditioned by true crime podcasts and other Netflix specials.
No, you know what it led to? It led to they bounced some checks. Oh no!
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
It did seem kind of low stakes at first.
No. The dude was weird. If you enjoyed the Twitter swindler miniseries. It's about like emotional mental manipulation over time. This weird grift. Was she a victim? Was she in on it? It's interesting. Just like the Twitter swindler stuff was interesting, but there is no vegan murders. So just FYI.
But all that to say is, I feel like these shared experiences are becoming increasingly rare. I think they kind of run the gamut from things like January 6th, like everyone's watching. We got
Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, but then there was like the dress, like just a legitimately viral moment.
BuzzFeed, the dress
where everyone was looking at the dress at the same. I remember in college, it was a balloon boy. You guys remember the balloon boy thing? Where on live television news, there's like this balloon homemade contraption floating over like the Utah desert, and there's like a little like hatch or like a little like box at the bottom, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, they're not sure if a kid is hiding in there." And the whole country stopped what they're doing, and it ended up being a hoax, right?
Yeah.
The parents got in a lot of trouble because the kid was hanging at the house. Yeah. But the whole country just stopped, like everything. It didn't matter what profession. It cut through class lines. It cut through like just every kind of, a social division. And everyone's like, dude, I gotta turn on this on CNN and watch this balloon boy thing, how this is going to shake out. It was the same way with the slap. It was like, this is one of maybe the last times where we'll all collectively unplanned text each other and everyone's just watching and everyone has an opinion about it. Again, we can dissect, and it's being dissected, all of the moral implications of the whole incident, but it could be one of the last times we all just share something weird together at the same time.
All right. Well, we have a great show in store for you. Coming up later, For King and Country joins us. It's one of our favorite bands. We've covered them a lot over the years. And also, we have a very special What's Jesse Thinking at the end of the show. But speaking of shared cultural moments, stay tuned right now. Up next, it's The Buzz.
Crocodile tears through landline, rolling the dial between the years of past life.
You're listening to Baseball Game. The song is Crocodile Tears. I thought there was no crying in baseball. Hey, before I introduce Relevant Buzz, I want to remind you that there is an ad-free, early released version of this podcast for Relevant Plus subscribers. When you sign up to Relevant Plus, you get our exclusive podcast, Relevant Plus Conversations, as well as an ad-free early release version of this podcast, our enhanced digital magazine, unlimited access to relevantmagazine.com, including ad-free viewing there as well. Go check it out. Get all the info. Check out all the plans. Things start as low as $250 a month. You can find out the info at relevantmagazine.com. Okay, well, this episode is brought to you by Thrivent, presenting a Dream Big online event with Bob Goff. Are you investing in your biggest dreams? Are you living the life you've always wanted? Are you ready to identify the obstacles holding you back from reaching your goals? Then join New York Times bestselling author, humanitarian, life coach, chief balloon inflator, and my hero, Bob Goff, on April 26th. It's just in a few weeks. Bob is truly one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and he has incredible insights about life, work, faith, all of it. Based on his enormously popular book, Dream Big, Bob draws upon a lifetime of living and dreaming large to help you break out of the status quo and get the most out of life. At this inspiring virtual event, you'll learn how to clearly define or redefine your dreams, create a specific plan to reach your goals, and develop tools that will help you get started. Learn more and RSVP for the full Bob Goff experience and discover the strategy beneath the smile. Visit, write this down, bit.ly, bit.ly/Dream Big with Bob. Again, that's bit.ly, bit.ly/Dream Big with Bob. You won't want to miss it. It's Tuesday, April 26th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And the event is sponsored by Thrivent, a holistic financial services organization driven by a higher purpose, helping you make the most of all you've been given. Go check it out. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Please welcome to the show, Relevant Associate Editor, Downtown, Emily Brown, telling us what's happening this week at the intersection of faith and culture. Hey, Emily.
Hey, y'all.
All right, so what's going on this week?
We got a lot to get to today. So what I want to start off with is something that I can't believe I'm bringing to the table, because I've talked extensively how I do not like NFTs, but... What I want to mention,
I thought you were going to bring Taylor Swift slander or something. Shocking that Emily.
I would never do that. I was on record. I would never do that, Taylor. Dr. Taylor Swift. I would never say that. No, I am unfortunately going to talk about NFTs because there is a new service called Eternal Prayer that promises to commemorate your prayers for all of eternity on the blockchain. That's right.
no.
You can turn your prayers into an NFT because, you know, that's where we're at in the world. For the price of $19.99, you can turn your prayers into an NFT, which is just great because last time I heard prayer was still free.
Wow.
So I didn't get the memo that it changed, but this is good to know.
Like if your prayer gets answered, do you get half your money back or something? Like it doesn't need to stay up there any longer.
Idea.
I know. Right?
It's an irrelevant prayer if it's been answered.
Yeah.
Or something. Or
Speaking of discounts, I just want to know that there is an early Easter sale for 15% off for prayer with the code Pray2Jesus.
No.
So
no.
Oh wow.
Okay. This hopefully will be the last NFT buzz item ever because have y'all noticed? Like my Twitter timeline does not have NFTs on it anymore, and I didn't
really
mute
plummeted. It fell off a cliff
because so much fraud started happening. Like if you look at the bar graph of like its ascension and its absolute demise, like those NFT grifters are left holding their bag right now. I think that trend is over. At least
Can
the
I ask
version
a
of it that
question
we
about
saw.
the eternal prayers? Who is getting our money?
great question.
The blockchain.
According to the website, a Christian organization. That's all they say.
Okay. That is
Sounds
a
legit.
man in his
Sounds
basement
legit.
that lives with his mom.
Sounds legit.
This is a Russian in his basement. Yeah.
There are, if you go to the website, there are some testimonies from real people. I'm using a lot of air quotes on that.
Like Sarah from Minnesota. Is that what it
It's
says?
literally like
that.
John T from Tennessee. And it's like, okay, sure.
Dawn T.
But what's funny is some of them will say like, you know, I put my prayer on my NFT that this product I'm working on would get investors. And the next day I got 20 emails and it's like, well, yeah, assuming this is real, they're selling your information to people. Like you're kind of, it's just, there's a lot of shadiness going on.
At least with like the whole seed faith thing where they're like, hey, plant a seed and you'll reap 100-fold benefits into the ministry. At least they had at least the value proposition, even though I think is sort of insidious and a distortion of theology. I think at least makes rational sense to a person. Like, oh, well, maybe that's how this whole thing works. I plant a $5 seed and God has to give me 50 in return somehow. Like, at least I can understand the logic of it, even if I don't agree with it. This is what's in it for God here. Like, why does he need the prayer authenticated on the blockchain? I thought he's omniscient. Like, that should take care of all this cross-checking that's happening, that he would know. And what's the worst case scenario? If God somehow got confused about who was the originator of this prayer, just answer it for a lot of people. I don't think they're going to be that
I do
upset.
want to also point out you are limited to 250 words per prayer.
Oh, okay.
So that is also important to keep in mind.
Sure. So so I'm going from something that is free that I can do as much as I want with no word count to something that has a 250 word count and that I could maybe get 10% off if I have the early Easter sale code.
15%.
15. Oh, okay, 15.
Pray
All right,
to
that's
Jesus.
better. That's better. This is a net loss across the board for me, but hopefully it's a gain for God.
This is why Christians shouldn't be involved in technology. Christians ruin our nice things. Just leave NFTs alone. All right.
I do hope this is the downfall of NFT, though. That's what my prayer is.
Well, I don't think this single thing
Send that
is
prayer in.
This is representative of the downfall of NFTs because the grifters have joined the scene, you know? And
no, I'm going to say I'm going to make my NFT prayer that this is the end of NFTs.
Oh, got it. Okay, perfect.
We should all put our money
Let's do
together.
that.
We should put
Let's
our money
do that.
together
Good idea.
and write up a prayer request and see how it goes out. Like we don't tell anyone about it. It's just between, the six of us here
Well, the blockchain
and see what
will know, but-
happens.
Sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. All right, what else you got?
Well, our next item of business is about an award show that I know everyone's been talking about all week. That's right. The Grammys are this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So
The other award show.
let's give it up.
gotta-
What
the
other
bar
award
has
show
been
would we
set.
be talking about?
The bar has been set pretty high for conversation topics coming out of the Grammys.
Yeah. They are going to have some high moments, hopefully.
And to be fair, we are recording this before the Grammys happened. And
we
many
don't
of you
know.
are listening to this after the Grammys happened. So if anybody got slapped by Questlove or anything like that, we don't know.
Questlove would not.
He would never.
I think the
He would
Grammys. Look, I think the Grammys are going to be a hit. A big hit.
No.
I actually really liked that.
Billie Eilish beat all of BTS up on stage, just one after the other.
The Grammys were a hit. The Oscars were a slap.
Cameron.
If you're offended by that joke, just turn the other cheek. That's all I can say.
All right.
What's
the news about the Grammys?
The big news about the Grammys that I think a lot of people will be interested in is that Maverick City Music was actually announced as a performer at the Grammys. And so they will, I don't know what song they're singing, but they're leading worship, which is just really interesting that on a night where you have people like Olivia Rodrigo, BTS, Lil Nas X, you're also going to have Maverick City Music. And what's really exciting is it looks like it's been about 20 years since there was any sort of like gospel performance at the Grammys. So, it's a long time coming, but I think it'll be really good. And I'm excited to hear kind of like the energy that they bring and what they're going to. Yeah.
I love Maverick. Who played 20 years ago? Carmen. Who would it have been?
It was Cece. It was Cece Winans with Brian McKnight. It was like a gospel.
There's like 4 people.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I was going to say, I would like to point out that Kirk Franklin and Chance the Rapper did have a performance of How Great back in 2017. And I personally had a spiritual experience with that.
That was amazing. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was
This
very
is where
good.
the Grammys, like little demarcations of genre get really confused. Like it doesn't make any, because that was by any definition a gospel performance, except for the Grammys definition, which has all their weird and very archaic rules around what counts as a new artist or a rock band or a pop art. Like it's they are so badly in need of.
That's been an issue even for Maverick City. Just like on their social media over the years, like just even with the Billboard charts and stuff, like they'll release a song that is straight up CCM or straight up worship, and they get put in the gospel category. And they're like, well, there's really no element of this song that's gospel. Is it just because Chandler's black? Like that kind of a thing. And so they straddle a whole lot of categories. And I think they're nominated in several categories this year too. So
they were nominated for all 4 categories.
All 4
gospel, Christian, Christian song, Christian album, gospel song, gospel
That's awesome.
Album.
Yeah.
But what is I guess there's no point in trying to, figure it out. But, what is the distinction between their Christian album designation and their gospel? Obviously it's not
on the Billboard charts.
Content.
It's 2 very different genres and radio formats. Black gospel is a very distinct category from contemporary Christian music. Maverick City is saying like, don't just silo us over in gospel. Like we're making music that's broader than that. And so, and rightfully so, they were fighting that label early in their career. I think they've superseded it at this point. But when they were first coming out, they were getting categorized for chart reasons and radio reasons as gospel. And it was limiting their ability to be heard on broader Christian radio, so.
It used to just be one category. I think it was like gospel Christian. And then maybe 2015 or 16, I might be wrong on that. They split it up into like Christian, and I think the idea was like Christian pop versus gospel. And I do think there's probably like a pretty significant racial element to that, but obviously they can't say that. So they created a bunch of very strange rules around what counts as gospel, what counts as Christian. And it's, as we see now, it creates some complications.
Last year, Tori Kelly won the gospel category. I mean, and her style is gospel singing, so it's definitely not just race-based. But anyway. All right, what else you got?
Well, I mentioned Chance the Rapper earlier, and he actually just had a really beautiful new song that he just dropped called Child of God. And we have a clip of it here.
Just do your thing, child. Do your thing. Truth be told, I got the ball on a string. Carried the weight of the world, but it came with some handles. I drag it to the basket. Moses with the passage. Safely, Lord God, please make an example. I tried to break shackles, now they ankles in shambles. I can't expect them to be grateful and thankful. They thought I had a manual like Hansel. Leave your plans in man's hands and it gets manhandled.
And it's just a really beautiful song. He hits on just this idea that, we have our identities and we have the things that we're doing, and sometimes we doubt it. But the chorus of just do your thing, child, just do your thing, I think is like a really important message for a lot of people to hear. And it's really, I just love Chance, but I also love that, like we were just talking about, he is not necessarily categorized as a Christian artist, but he is talking about these Christian elements and sharing his faith with a really wide audience. And I think that's very important to highlight.
And we tweeted our admiration for this new single. And Chance admired our admiration, retweeting Relevant multiple times as we covered this new single. So the love is just circular here. We love him. He loves us loving him. And then we love that he loved us loving him. And then we talk about us loving him again. So
it's a picture of the gospel. I think in a lot of ways.
It's one big love fest.
It's very profound.
Yeah, it's very analogous.
I do like that song.
And I know Tyler, Emily, or whoever wrote the tweet there, I know you're not taking credit for Chance's success.
Yeah.
But Emily, I think most of the success he's achieved is because of that.
I agree with that.
I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad someone did.
Congratulations.
Way to go,
and Emily, you don't know this, but Chance hit me up and he told me he was inspired to write this song because of the tweet that you send to Taylor Swift in a reply every time she tweets. You go, child. You do your thing, child. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to capture this support that Emily has for Taylor Swift, and I'm going to put this in the song.
I honestly probably have tweeted that to her at some point.
You go, child.
You go, child.
Maybe not child, because she's older than me, but I probably could have said, you go, girl. I love you, and I
do
support
your thing. I support you. Chance was really impacted by that support, and he wanted to write about it.
I want that sort of fandom. That's the admiration I want my fans.
All right. Well, there's a lot more where that came from. That's just a little taste of the stuff that we're covering every day over at relevantmagazine.com. For the latest of what's happening at intersection of faith and culture, check it out. Follow us on all the socials and make sure that relevantmagazine.com is part of your daily web browsing. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. Stay tuned. Up next, for King and Country, join us. Listening to FA. The song is Kiwi. If you're trying to find it, it's not the letters F and A. It's EFE with a little tilde over the second E. Anyway, so I think I said it right. Well, today's podcast is also brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy. People don't always realize that physical symptoms like headaches, teeth grinding, and even digestive issues can be indicators of stress. And let's not forget about doom scrolling, sleeping too little, sleeping too much, undereating, overeating. Stress affects all of us daily, and it shows up in all kinds of ways. And in a world that's telling you to do more and grind all the time, here's your reminder to take care of yourself, do less, and maybe try therapy. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. Give it a try and see if online therapy can help lower your stress. And right now, Relevant Podcast listeners can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/relevant. That's BetterHelp.com/relevant for 10% off your first month. Well, our guest today is For King and Country. Brothers Luke and Joel Smallbone are the Christian pop duo behind hits like Together and God Only Knows. They just dropped their brand new album, What Are We Waiting For? And they are out on tour right now with Dante Bowe. They sat down with our downtown Emily Brown to discuss how their music helps them be honest and how they remain hopeful for the future. Here's our conversation with For King and Country.
We both know what it's like to be hurt. We both know what it's like to feel pain. But I think it's safe to say we're on to better days. Can you relate?
I'm excited to talk to you about your new album, which is called What Are We Waiting For? Which is a very bold question to ask. So I want to know, what were y'all thinking and processing through while you were creating this album?
Well, the distance between what you hope a record to feel and sound and look like and what it actually ends up being, there can be a great divide in between those two. No matter how we sort of carry on and it's received, I think the key for us is we are very proud of the work that we've all done. And we say that with the recognition that there were so many songwriters and so many producers and musicians and so on that brought this album to life. We've kind of said that the album's three parts. It's spiritual, by nature. It's a family album. There's a lot of songs that really kind of ended up speaking to family. And then it's a global album, songs like Together or Unity or Relate and so on, kind of looking at where we've been and where we're going. And so What Are We Waiting For as a title just seemed very, not only indicative of the work, but it also felt like it found this balance of saying, hey, this is not about me, this is not about you, this is about us. This is not necessarily about where we've been, although that's the backdrop and we should recognize that, but this is so much more about the possibility of where we could go.
For heaven's sake, we're missing hope, they're saving face and throwing stones, so take your mistakes, just let them go, 'cause don't we all wear those broken halos?
I love like this idea of looking towards the future as well, especially when, I think things are, when we look at it now, it is not very hopeful. And so, I think there is a lot about looking to the future that can just kind of provide like a different sense of joy. So I'd love to know, like, what do you think the future looks like, not only for yourselves, but like you're saying, for your families and for the world and even the church and stuff? What do you hope for, I guess, maybe that we're waiting for?
Well, I think that to a degree, I've heard a lot of people say, man, I'm just so ready for things to get back to normal. And I think that I get that to a point, but I also think that for most everybody, that they actually want to get back to normal, but bring along with all the things that we've learned over the last 2 years. And so I think for us, when it comes to the future, I will be the first to put up my hand that the pandemic revealed that the amount of busyness and the amount of the amount that I celebrate busyness and just, when somebody, hey, how are things going? Man, I'm really busy. And we're like, good for you. Well, it's actually the thing that affects my family. It's the thing that affects my wife. It's the thing that affects my kids. It's the thing that affects my soul. And so I want to be, I think, going into the future, I want to recognize when I'm in a little bit of the rat race, when I'm in that little hamster wheel, and I want to be someone who actually can put a stop to it.
Walk with me down a lonely street. Talk to me, tell me what you see. Stand by me so the world will see you and me in unity. Hey, 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 you and me in unity. Hey, hey.
And so my hope is that, for, even when it comes to that question of what are we waiting for, that I'm going to bring those things with me in the future. And I also think for others, I think even for the church, there's been a lot of dreams. There's been a lot of things that have lain dormant in people's lives. And the pandemic, I think, revealed like, wow, life is truly that as fragile as I thought. Mm-hmm. So why aren't I doing some of the things that I'm passionate about? Why aren't I acting out on some of the things that God's given me and only me talents for? My hope is that we will be much the same as we go forward, that we'll take the things that we feel that God has given us and really put them, use is an interesting word, but to put them into action in the coming months and the coming years.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned dreams, because I think that is something that so many people have recognized as the pandemic's brought about all these things that they want to do or that they would like to do in the future. But I think a lot of people, they get really scared and they feel really stuck. So, what encouragement would you have with someone who has recognized a dream, but they're not sure how to go about achieving that?
Well, I think something that we're really grappling with right now is sort of our individualistic mindset, as we'll call it. That it's a sort of have it your way. It's my life. It's my truth, and yet it seems as though so much of what not only, Jesus Christ was driving at, but where actually true satisfaction and happiness is found is in a wider group of people, and that's been one of the great losses of the pandemic, hasn't it? That we've been sort of physically isolated from that group of people. For King and Country is really the I think one of the things that makes it work is the fact that it is this conglomerate of a bunch of family members, a bunch of different people coming together to make this thing up. And there's a lot of trust that happens. And honestly, there's a great deeper understanding of yourself inside a group. As far as unrealized dreams, I think, well, first of all, we find that it's sad when dreams are unrealized. And there's so much of that, you know. So many companies that were started over the last 2 years, or restaurants, or, you know, musicians that we watched to sort of start something in the worst time in human history in our lifetime. You could probably start something. Mm-hmm. But I think retooling that dream and going, hey, what if this is not just my dream? What if this is just, it's beyond me? What if this is, you know, this is a calling? What if there are other people that, you know, should be part of this thing? What if it's not just about individualism and conquering my own self, but it's actually about being part of the greater good?
I love that you bring in family so much. Obviously, family is very important to y'all. And I know even on your album, you had a song you've had a couple songs about your family. So I'm just curious, how has the pandemic changed your relationship or your view with family, if at all?
Well, I think the pandemic made it very obvious that we take family for granted. Just it is what it is. That statement to me,
plain and simple.
You just started to realize that some of the things that we enjoyed, some of those conversations that were super encouraging, and some of those just everyday interactions we just took for granted.
Yeah.
And I think for us, Unsung Hero specifically was written about, obviously, I've said it's 75% about our mother and 25% about dad.
I have no idea saying that.
That's a new thing. And so some of these opportunities that you have, our parents are still here. And I think that some of these things we wanted to say while they're still here. And that's why we wrote the song. For our mother, our mom did all of the invisible things that were everything to us. She taught us how to love God. She taught us how to love people. She told us self-control. She taught us patience. All the things that in some cases that we think are really important when you're 6, 7, and 8, and then all of a sudden we don't talk about really much anymore. Those were the things that make who we are today. And we're still flawed individuals. But those are the things that enable us to write songs. Those are the things that enable us to maybe do the 9 days that we've just had over the last little while that are very, very hectic. But yet she was invisible pretty much through the entire thing. And in some cases, it says it in the Bible, the invisible is actually what is most important. And I think that that's been our mother, that's been our father, and they're here with us. And that song illustrates basically the things that we wanted to say to them while they can still understand and to be able to hear them from us now.
You're strong like your father, even when you were scared. When I was in trouble, you never left me there. And you love like your mother, like there's nothing to lose.
That was For King and Country. Make sure to check out their new album, What Are We Waiting For? And check out their tour if they're coming near you. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's What's Jesse Thinking? You're listening to the Tiaras. The song is They Don't See Us. Okay, it's time for
What's Jesse Thinking? Huh?
All right, Jesse, it's been a while. It's a few weeks, a month. I don't know how long it's been. What are you thinking about these days?
I'm thinking about, how brilliant, unintentionally brilliant, some sitcom writers are for pitching inventions that would actually be awesome in real life. And the reason I started thinking about this is because of a YouTube channel called Unnecessary Inventions, where this, kind of dude with a 3D printer and lots of time on his hands just makes weird stuff. Well, he decided to take some inspiration from Michael Scott and David Wallace. Now, you guys may remember a famous subplot of The Office where David Wallace is removed as the CFO of Dunder Mifflin and decides to embark on his new journey to create a device called Suck It with his son that is basically a vacuum cleaner that picks up toys. It sounds ridiculous, but as aficionados of the show, spoiler alert, no, David Wallace ends up a very rich man because of Suck It. And for some reason, I think he ends up selling it to the U.S. government for military purposes or whatever. But either way, there was this guy and he was like, hey, I want to see if there's any validity to this. But he got a little bit more nuance in it because one of his previous unnecessary invention was an invention called Lego socks, which were special socks you could wear around the house if you have a child that plays with Legos that has a padding that will prevent you from injuring your foot on Legos.
If y'all, as a Lego person, I mean, I literally have an active set being built right now that I do. My son doesn't. If you've ever barefoot stepped on a Lego brick, it is the most. It sounds like you're stepping on a pebble. It is the most excruciating pain, and it comes out of nowhere. You didn't know it was coming, and it's just all of a sudden like you crumble to the ground. So,
especially in the dark, in the middle of the night when you're going to get that glass of water. I mean, it's just the worst.
Oh, good for him. I need Lego socks.
I was one time looked at a Reddit thread of just people ranking the worst toys to step on in the middle of the night. Lego came to only behind a small little metal fighter jet toy with like fins and points and little missiles.
I can see that
was pretty bad.
That. But the Lego's sneakier because if you've got carpet or a rug, it can hide in it.
Yeah.
The plane you're going to see, pick it up. Whatever, clean up the room. That Lego brick could live on and get you well after that Lego set is put away, So.
And I just like to give a little freedom to anyone's listening. I can't tell you how many Legos I threw away because I'm not picking those up and putting them where they go.
Wow.
It's in the trash.
You're that kind of mom.
I am
Those
that
are
kind of mom.
expensive.
Pick your stuff up, and if I step on it, I'm throwing it away.
They could.
That's an important.
I'm throwing that away. Piece. I'm throwing Nerf bullets away. All the Nerf bullets.
Nerf bullets, fine, but that. I am a big believer on keeping sets intact. I'm the Will Ferrell character from the Lego movie. I believe in the proper vision of the creator, So I'll put it on the shelf or something like that. If my kid comes and plays with it and breaks it and like a little piece flies off or whatever, we are going to regather those pieces so I can rebuild and recreate the perfect set again. You're throwing away a couple random pieces. I can't rebuild that set.
I'm not throwing away pieces that like a grown man is working on and it stays on his shelf. These are 4 and 2-year-old boys who throw all their crap everywhere. And then this is a long time ago for me.
Got it.
I'm sorry, it's gone.
Well, each of those bricks is like 10 cents. You're throwing away cash money, right? I mean, they hold their value too.
It's for my sanity.
Okay.
Well, listen, I have good news for you, Jamie. You no longer have to throw them away because of this invention, which it sounds like, I can make a vacuum that sucks up Legos, but there was a tremendous amount of thought. And this individual owns a 3D printer and it involves magnets and all these things. But essentially, he created this like filtration tube for a shop vac that has different sort of layers. Okay. And between those layers are almost like these large filters that he made in a 3D printer with holes of different size. So it actually separates and organizes the Legos as it's sucking them up. So when you're done, in this big cylinder tube is the Legos organized by shape and size just from vacuuming it up. Now, it's a really cool invention. It was inspired, he says, by David Wallace's Suck It. But it got me thinking, what are some other sitcom inventions that I think would be legitimately awesome if they came to real life? And I have a small list.
I know one. I'm going to predict one. But I won't give it away. You can do your list. I'll write it down.
I can't think of anything off the dome. Like, I can't think of any sitcom inventions.
Get ready. Okay. Get ready.
I don't have anything to write it down on. How do I do?
The text it to Tyler.
Text it to me.
We trust you. We trust you.
Yeah. Okay, so the most obvious I think is Steven Urkel's Cool Guy Machine.
I knew it. You and I are on the same.
transforms his molecules from Stephen Urkel to Stefan Urkel.
Stefan Urkel.
Now the only thing is that's a little outside, that we're kind of going into the sci-fi realm. But here are some other ones that I would like to see in real life. One is obvious. A couple from Parks and Rec was prolific with the amount of inventions they just casually mentioned. One is Cones of Dunshire.
Tom Haverford,
Dunshire.
Yeah, Cones of Dunshire. I feel like I would legitimately want to play and just kind of learn the nuances. I'm surprised. Maybe that is. I didn't look. Maybe someone's made Cones of Dunshire and you can buy it.
It's a board game that Ben did on a sabbatical.
If it doesn't have the Adam Scott seal of approval on it, I would need him to play it.
It's got that Settlers of Catan kind of vibe, just nerd alert.
Like Settlers meets Dungeons and Dragons, maybe. Like it looks pretty involved. Yeah.
If it seems complicated, but you just have to remember it's all about the cones. Okay.
But, dude, every episode Tom Haverford tells about a new business invention.
Well, and I identified two that I think I would want to see. One is snail mail, the escargot delivery service, because why doesn't that exist, especially in the COVID era?
Okay, first of all, it's called Postmates or Uber Eats. You could just order escargot from a restaurant.
Or specializes in escargot. Niche. Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let's think about this escargot situation. Escargot is only edible when it has piping hot melted butter, garlic butter in it, right? It's surrounded or sitting in piping hot. What is the first thing to cool off during the car ride would be that butter. You're going to get this congealed, tepid goo.
Snail.
That's why you need a specialized. That's why you need it specialized because they can transport it in some sort of like
special carrier,
heated, oven. They could maybe make it as they're delivering it.
Domino's has these bags that look like NASA invented them. You know what I mean? They're basically cooking the pizza in the car.
Yeah, and Postmates isn't going to have that, so that's why we need a specialized service called snail mail. I like it. Okay, all right. You sold me.
This one, I honestly am shocked doesn't exist. Yogurt Platinum, a gourmet alcoholic yogurt. It just seems like someone. It seems like I don't know if you guys have noticed this.
Platinum. I like platinum.
But it seems like there's been this cycle that happened for a while where initially people were just injecting random products with protein. It would be like, now your chocolate milk contains 50 grams of protein, or I'm buying like a piece of candy with protein. Then it went to like CBD, where it's like, now this Mountain Dew is infused with CBD. Now people are just straight up going
I think
alcohol.
That's the opposite. I think the CBD would mellow you off the caffeine. I don't think Mountain Dew and CBD would be a mix.
You would think, but they're just putting CBD in stuff
everything.
Now. Yeah,
it's like Red Bull and vodka, I guess. It's like the up and the down together make it. Yeah, okay,
where they've run out of protein in CBD and whatever random things. They're just going to start straight up throwing alcohol in yogurt at this point.
I like the name though, Yogurt Platinum. That's
I like Yogurt Platinum.
Okay, I have two from 30 Rock. One is Kathy Geis. She was, I believe, one of the executives at GM.
She liked cats. She was the daughter of Don Geis, and she became the president when Don retired. She was not capable.
She had an idea for a hug machine for the elderly. Aww. And it was just a machine that issues hugs to lonely people. Now, they implied that it crushed an elderly woman to death, but still, I think we live in a time in COVID where if you're lonely, you can have a Yogurt Platinum and get a hug machine.
It's not Pixar. It's a Disney animated movie that had the big white kind of marshmallow pillow guy.
Yeah.
Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6. He was kind of a companion. He would monitor your health, give you hugs. They kind of invented that in that movie.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
Okay. So the other one, Jack Donaghy. This is probably the best idea on the list. Jack Donaghy one time, this is from 30 Rock, suggested a transparent toaster that gives you a clear view of the bread's crispiness. So the sides of the toaster are transparent, either glass or some sort of plastic, because that is the worst part of toast and toast. The different breads, different oats, the transparent
somebody
toasters.
On Twitter yesterday said, why haven't they invented a toaster with a window on the side, which would be the exact same? And because you can do a window on an oven. They have the glass that can be heat resistant enough.
Yeah.
Jack Donaghy's, the whole thing doesn't need to be invisible or clear,
just
but you do need a window.
Yeah.
You need a window.
Yeah. Or a little periscope or something to look in there. Like a reverse periscope.
Because I have to look at the top half inch that I can see from the top and kind of gauge it.
And I know they tell you not to do this, but whenever I'm looking in that top little slot and I can't get a good angle, I'm jabbing forks down there to try to push the toast aside.
That makes me so nervous.
Don't worry. I use metal ones, not plastic.
Oh, awesome.
I don't want it to melt in there and ruin my toast. Okay, another one is Ryan from The Office. I actually thought Wolf was a good idea. It was his alert system where if someone's trying to get a hold of you, it'll ring every device at one time, even a fax machine. I think we've all been in a situation where we can't get a hold of somebody, and Wolf would have come in handy.
Dude, I have iCloud kind of has that. I'm hearing, I get a message on our office chat, or I get a text, or I get an email. I hear dings throughout my house. Like all my Apple devices are alerting me. It's actually a little stressful. It's like I'm just trying to get a sandwich in the kitchen and the office is talking to me, and it's like so I am anti-Wolf. Wow. I think I need to unplug more.
Yeah, well, fair enough. If you unplug, maybe you can just hang out with your local kitty cat, but be sure to put on a pair of kitten mittens from the Always Sunny gang. This was another really great idea from Always Sunny, who's always hatching great plots. But they were mittens for kittens so they don't scratch you, because Charlie was getting pretty scratched up by some feral cats he brought in.
So it's not mittens that you wear to like pet it and it like de-sheds the cat or something like that. It's mittens for the kitten.
Honestly, that's a great idea too.
They have that.
Yeah,
they have gloves you can put on that has like little like comb things, and you can.
So these were mittens that you put on the kitten.
You don't want them scratching.
That kitten is going to attack you as you're trying to get mittens.
They have animal socks. They have these.
Has anyone ever met a cat, though, that's just going to leisurely lay in your lap while you put mittens on their feet? I feel like they're going to freak out.
Cats are the worst.
No, I doubt it.
I just typed in cat socks, and it's a bunch of human socks with like cat prints and cat faces on them. So
it's kind of hard to Google, which is like kitten mittens.
Yeah. Kitten mittens, very specific.
Is great.
Yeah. But either way, I think, America's sitcom writers, could potentially, just hold a lot of solutions to problems that we have in everyday life with their inventions.
Also, if you type in kitten mittens, yes, clips from that show come up, but also a whole lot of human mittens with little cat whiskers on them, or cat paws on them, or cat designs on them. So there's a lot of crazy people out there who like to wear cat pictures, apparently. So
that could be a whole cottage industry, though. Like you go to kittenmittens.com, you've got mittens for cats, you've got mittens for people with cats on them. Like you could choose from the drop down menu a lot of different. Exactly. Yeah, it could be a pretty big umbrella.
All your cat apparel needs.
How about this? You remember at like Bed Bath & Beyond? Maybe I haven't been to Bed Bath & Beyond in quite some time. But I remember
I haven't either, but every time I go, it's like going to Costco.
It is like Costco. I didn't know I needed
that, but I need that now. I didn't know this existed, but I'm walking out of here with this. I love it. I just never go.
They have more little devices, useful devices, that its main
it's
thing
the as
is
seen
like
on TV infomercial stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that was my point. At Bed Bath & Beyond, they have like an as seen on TV section. Yeah. What if we had as seen on your favorite show section, where I can go buy the transparent toaster or the kitten mittens or my own cones of Dunshire? I could test out Yogurt Platinum or any of these.
That would be the weird little corner in the back. That would be the beyond. So you have your bed stuff, your bath stuff, and then Jesse's little corner in the back. That's the beyond.
Inventions.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, I don't know who I got to call. I'll Shark Tank this. Call up Cubes. I think he's in.
Jesse, I initially said when you said this, like I couldn't think of any sitcom inventions. Yeah. But over the course of you talking about this, I've probably come up with 10. Like, and that show did that. That's like there is a whole. This could be an online store. We are sitting on money.
Wow.
I feel like when sitcom writers like just get in a ditch and they're like, I don't know what other subplots. We've had every love triangle possible on the show. It's like they have two moves. One is to introduce like a nephew or a monkey. Remember, there was like a year on Friends where they just had Marcel the monkey. Like, we're out of ideas. We have to have a monkey character now. Or they a character just starts making wacky inventions. Like when they run out of Seinfeld was number one culprit in this. If they ran out of like relatable plots, they would just have Kramer invent some wacky business idea or invention like an oil bladder or something. Sure. It was just, we're out of ideas. Let's have a kooky character invent something like a coffee table book with coffee table legs.
Also, his oil bladder invention idea was brilliant, and they should do it. Yeah. The idea was that he would take oil tankers, and on the inside of the oil tanker, where they would fill the tanker with oil, he would line the interior with a rubber seal.
Yeah.
So then if it ever had a crash or a puncture to the hull, the rubber would not be broken and the oil would not leak out of the boat. brilliant. Spray foam, just do it. Like, why haven't we done this?
I know it's taken so
Kramer's portrayed to be this wacko. The oil bladder was genius.
Even Dwight Schrute, he had an invention where you could get, I think it was 2 dozen sliders off a horse without killing the animal. And it was just it just take a wacky character and let them invent weird stuff. And it's just sitcom 101. When you run out of ideas,
it's sustainable food. I mean, like he's saying, you don't have to slaughter the horse. My machine will just take 20 little sliders off the horse. The horse will repair itself in time, and then it's regenerating just like trees regenerate. We don't have to slaughter all the animals. This is great for the environment and sustainable food supply.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. But then we have to eat horse burgers. But
we need a section of the store where just sitcom inventions. That's what I've been thinking.
That's the Beyond. It makes sense. Now the name finally works.
There you go.
Bad Bath and Beyond.
I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for
What's Jesse thinking? Oh?
Hey, before we wrap it up, I want to thank For King and Country for joining us today. Make sure to check out their new album, What Are We Waiting For? It's out now. And check out their tour if it's coming near you. They're a great show. Well, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we recently launched Relevant Plus, our new premium content subscription. You can find out all the information about all the subscriber benefits and the ad-free and the unlimited and all the extra stuff. And we have more that we're going to be dropping throughout the year. So it's a great deal right now. And there's more in the pipeline coming for Relevant Podcast subscribers. Go check it out. Also, if you happen to be, this is just a little inside note, but if you happen to be one of our Print Mag subscribers when the Print Mag went on hiatus in 2020, we have a Relevant Plus a subscription waiting for you. Just email us at plus.support@relevantmagazine.com. That's plus.support@relevantmagazine.com. And we will send you the code for you to get your comp subscription. Also, if you pre-ordered the Relevant Annual Print Edition, we have a comp subscription as a thank you waiting for you as well. Just email that same address, plus.support@relevantmagazine.com. Also, while you're at the website, make sure to check out our spring issue of Relevant. And, subscription or Relevant Plus subscribers get the enhanced version. It's incredible to look at. It's beautiful design. But there is a version on our website for free as well. We've got amazing conversations with Ryan Reynolds, Judith Lion, Bob Goff, Channing Tatum, Brooke Ligertwood, Madison Pruitt. There's a ton in the issue. Go check it out now. It's available for free at relevantmagazine.com. Also, while you're at the site, or if you register for the site, not only do you unlock extra articles each month, but you can sign up for our daily newsletter. It brings you our top 5 trending stories in your inbox every morning. It's a great way to keep in touch with what's going on. And the better way to keep in touch with everything we're putting out is follow Relevant on all the socials. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're there. Follow us. It's good times. Good times. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
I'm Tyler Huckabee.
And we'll see you next time. I don't know how to end it anymore. Hold on.
Soon.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
If you're offended by that joke, just turn the other cheek.
Relevant Podcast Network.